Okay, so this is the second step. Okay, second step, just square the value of R. Okay, the coefficient of determination. So basically, we need to find coefficient of determination because the terms weak, moderate, and strong are ambiguous because they do not provide a precise meaning. So that's why we need to find coefficient of determination because we want to see the variation between x and y. Okay, so the coefficient of determination is the proportion. So when it most mentioned about proportion, so we know that we need to use percentage or ratio or something lah. Okay, so is the proportion of the total variation in the dependent variable y that is explained by the variation in the independent variable x. So we use r square value. So in example 7.1, R is 0.759, so we can conclude that indicate a strong relationship, but we don't know what meanings of strong. Okay, so that's why we need to calculate coefficient of determination. So just power of 2, the value of R. Okay, so you get the value is 0.576. Okay, so the final answer you kena buat dalam bentuk percentage. So 57.6% of the variation in number of calls. So Y is explained by the variation in the number of calls. So first mention about Y and then followed by X. Okay, so that's for coefficient of determination. Okay, if the question mentioned about coefficient of determination, make sure you kena ada sedikit explanation lah, which is 57.6% of the variation in the number of software sold in explained by the variation in the number of calls. So you need to mention this part also because dia akan ada marks sekali. Okay, jangan hanya beri value sahaja. So kena describe a little bit what the meanings of this value. We continue testing the significance of the coefficient of correlation. So this is the last things to measure the strength. Okay, so if you recall in example 7.1, only 10 sales engineers were sampled. So our sample size is small, too small. So we need to do hypothesis testing. Okay, so that's why we need to write down all the 5 steps yang kita dah belajar. Okay, so this is the first step, which is let rho be the correlation in the population. So the null and alternative hypothesis are, okay, step 1. Okay, actually for first step ni sama je, rho equal to 0. So means that the correlation in the population is 0. Okay, if correlation is 0, so means that there is no relationship between independent and dependent variable. Okay, so the other one, the correlation in the population is different from 0. So means that they have some value. Okay, so actually this one ada relationship lah. Okay, so we want to test whether we need to reject null hypothesis or accept alternative hypothesis. Okay, so it's depend on the calculation lah. Okay, so step 1. Okay, step what is alternative and null hypothesis. Okay, and then step 2, level of significance. So level of significance, since the question does not mention, so just assume that our level of significance is 0.05. Okay, and then now this one is two telltales because equal and not equal. So two telltales. So we have two rejection part. Okay, so first, if we want to find T critical, we use T test because N is less than 30. Okay, so if T critical. Okay, so the degree of freedom is n minus 2. Okay, first, level of significance is 0.05. This is 2 tildes. And then degree of freedom is n minus 2. So means that 10 minus 2. So we get 8. Okay, so prefer table. Okay, so this one is 0.05, 2 tildes. Okay, and then degree of freedom 8. Now our critical value is 2.306. 2.306. Since we have two rejection region, so positive and negative, so this one also negative 2.306. Okay, and then next step, we need to calculate the value of T. Okay, so just substitute the value of R and N in this formula. Okay, so R value is 0.759. So this one is refer example 7.1. Okay, and then N is 10, 10 minus 2. Okay, and then set 1 minus 0.759 power of 2. Okay, so we get the value is 3.297. So since 3.297 is fall in this rejection region, so you need to reject null hypothesis and then conclude that there is a strong evidence to suggest the correlation in the population is not zero. So means that we accept rho is not equal to 0. Okay.